I used to believe that love would arrive like thunder, sudden, certain, shaking the ground beneath my feet. A force that would burst into my life and make everything make sense. In my small village, cradled between the arms of ancient hills and lulled to sleep by a winding river, I spent years quietly waiting for that moment. That storybook collision, that missing piece. I filled my days with the ordinary, tending the garden, mending clothes, helping neighbors with weathered hands and warm smiles. But my nights belonged to longing. I would lie beneath the stars and imagine him, the one who would see me, choose me, stay. And then, one afternoon, he appeared. Kyle, a traveler, worn soft by miles and mystery. His presence didn't roar, it whispered. But in that whisper was gravity. Something about the way he watched the world made me lean in. We met by the river, where the water curved like a question mark, and time always seemed to slow. A few words turned into hours, and before I realized it, I was smiling in ways I hadn't for years. He listened without distraction, spoke with intention, held silence like it was sacred. There was something ancient in the way we connected, like remembering instead of meeting. Day after day, we returned to that riverbank, talking, laughing, sometimes saying nothing at all. And slowly, I fell. Not the reckless kind of falling. It was gentler than that, like soft rain finding its way through dry earth. I began to believe this was it. He was it. The love I had always imagined. The one that would stay. But love, I would come to learn, has many faces. At first, everything felt like a dream. We moved through the world like a shared secret. We carved our names into old wood, danced beneath the stars, and made promises in glances we never spoke aloud. But cracks revealed themselves quietly. I began to notice Kale slipping into distances I couldn't follow. His gaze would drift beyond the horizon, to roads I hadn't walked. He spoke of places unfinished, paths still calling. A restlessness lived inside him. Not cruel, just constant. I tried not to see it. I loved him harder, softer, more. I gave more than I knew I had. I bent, folded, twisted my spirit into shapes I thought might make him stay. Because in my heart, I believed that if I just loved him enough, it would be enough. One evening, under the willow tree where we first kissed, Kyle turned to me with that quiet sadness people wear when the truth is about to break something. "Elara," he said gently, "you've given me something rare, something whole, but I cannot stay." The words landed like a storm in my chest. "Why?" I whispered. "Don't you love me?" His eyes didn't flinch. "I do," he said, "but love doesn't always mean holding on." I wanted to argue, to plead, to make him understand that what we had was real, was worth fighting for. But he simply looked at me and said, "You think love is something we own, but sometimes it's something we pass through. A moment, not a monument." I told him he was afraid. He smiled softly. "No, Elara, you are. You're afraid of the silence he'll leave behind, of the space, of the ache. You've mistaken fear for love." And then he was gone, just like that. What followed was a quiet unraveling. Days bled into each other. I avoided the willow tree, the river, my own reflection. I felt emptied, as if he'd taken something essential with him. But grief, I've learned, is not a thief. It is a teacher. So I sat with it. I let the silence teach me. I began writing not to be heard, but to understand. I walked through woods with no destination. I looked strangers in the eye again, and somewhere in that quiet, I began to see it. What I had felt wasn't just love, it was love tangled in fear, love stitched with dependency, love shadowed by attachment. I wasn't just mourning Kyle, I was mourning the version of myself that didn't believe she could be whole without someone else. And that version of me had to go. I remember the exact moment everything shifted. I saw a child at the edge of the forest open a wooden cage and release a bird into the sky. She didn't cry, she smiled, as if she knew. Love is not about possession, it's about presence and freedom. Attachment says, "You belong to me. I need you to be okay." But love, real, sacred love, says, "You're free. And even if you go, my love remains." That day, I let Kyle go again, but this time, without sorrow. Years have passed. I've loved again, but I no longer love with grasping hands or pleading eyes. Now, I love like a river loves its banks, flowing, not clinging. I do not look for someone to complete me. I am already whole, and when love finds me, as it does, I no longer ask it to stay. I simply ask it to be honest, and if one day it must leave again, I will not fall apart. Because love, I now know, is not always a forever, but it is always a gift. Kyle taught me that, not by staying, but by leaving. He was not my ending. He was my becoming.